Hello adventurers and welcome back to the Ruinsmith YouTube channel. This past weekend we finally got a look at the Ashes of Creation Alpha 2. And I must say I had a great weekend. The game really was fun to play, there was a lot of things that I really enjoyed, and I think they've got a good base to start off from, and it can only get better from here. The combat was fun, the mechanics were very easy and flowing. I did enjoy the action combat quite a lot, so I think they're definitely on the right track. But this video I want to talk about what went wrong this weekend. Some people who bought Alpha Keys bought it after the closing date in January this year and would only have their first look at the game this coming weekend. And I'd just like to inform you what you need to look out for and what you should expect. This is an alpha, it is still in the testing, and there are a lot of issues that we did experience this weekend. So I just want you to know what you're getting yourself into. The first thing that you have to know is you're not going to play this game as much as you think you are. There's a bunch of things that happened that did reduce game time for most players. The number one issue this weekend was queue times. There were players who were in queues for 5 hours plus. The longest that I sat in a queue was nearly 3 hours. So be prepared to load the game up and go and do something else. The queue times are mostly due to people loading in and not moving away from the spawn area. They did inform us that the spawn area can only hold so many players. So once people move away from the spawn area, then new players can load in. Due to this, once you load in, you are also going to experience lag. The mostly only lag I experienced was in spawn or in the starting city. Other than this, the game runs relatively smoothly. I still from time to time had a little bit of lag, but nothing major, and I'm sure that'll get fixed as they improve the implementation and the rendering and things. So that's to be expected, but the horrible lag at load in is difficult. The next thing is bugs. There are definitely still bugs in the game. I had bugs where I cannot target things, I had bugs where I cannot be targeted by my healer, I had bugs where my weapons disappear as I'm attacking. I had visual bugs quite a lot. That was definitely my biggest experience, was visual bugs. But there weren't as many as I would have expected. For the most part, the game played fine. I didn't have any major issues, and the minor issues was not game breaking for me. I cannot comment on other people's experience, but for me, the bugs weren't as bad as you would expect on a first run. Then, besides the queue times and the lag, the game crashes. I think I crashed 6 times maybe throughout the weekend. Now the crashes aren't that bad because you do get crash protection, which means that when you crash, if you log in quickly enough, you do not have to sit and wait in a queue again. Now, this is true for the most part, but 2 of the times that I did crash, I was then put back into a queue going into the game. So the crash protection is also not perfect, but at least it's there. At least they did compensate for it. And then throughout the weekend, there was also server maintenance, which means there were periods when the server was down. Even if you could get in, you had to then leave the game or get kicked out for them to do some maintenance, which again can be expected, but then you have to join the queue times again afterwards. I must say, every time I logged in after the maintenance, the queues were much shorter, only 10 or 15 minutes. And as the weekend went on, especially Sunday afternoon, the queues weren't hours but minutes. So it does get better. But Friday night, Saturday morning, it's going to be difficult. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the game experienced a DOS attack on Sunday, which means that for a good part of Sunday, nobody could play, nobody could get in. This was not Intrepid's fault, and they kept us up to date on their progress all the way. They really did communicate with us what was going on, but it also did mean that the game session ended early. So unfortunately, we didn't even get to play the entire time that they told us we were going to. So if you're playing for the first time this coming weekend, enjoy it. The game really is great. It really is fun. Be prepared to party up either with friends or just with randos. The game is designed for party, not for solo play, and it really does make it a lot more fun. But there is enough you can do in solo play if that is what you prefer. But also be prepared for the fact that of the weekend you are not going to play all the time, and you're not going to just sit down for an hour session or for half an hour session. You have to really put time aside if you want to play this game. So yes, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the second look at Alpha 2. I hope you guys have as much fun as I did.